Good evening. My name is Bob Connors. It is now 6:05 p.m. I'd like to call the December 2nd meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission to order. Mason, can you read the preamble uh, to the remote open meeting law and take a roll call of members present?
As a preliminary matter, this is Mason Ferret, Conservation Agent of the Newbury Conservation Commission. Please permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Mary Rimmer,
Yes.
Dave Clifford, Mick Brown, Harry Trout,
Yes.
Woody Knight,
Yes.
Frank Wettenkamp, and Bob Connors.
Yes.
Good evening. This open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Newbury Conservation Commission is convening by Zoom call as posted on the agenda of the Conservation Commission section of the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Applicants or their representatives may be called upon to speak and or share information to the screen if able on the fly. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda, but before we do so, please permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your microphone. Please use earbuds, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board and committee members should be called upon in a first name alphabetical order to ease the process. After board and committee members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will first seek questions to the chat function. When participants are using this function, please list your name, address, and then your question. The chair will then seek questions for the public who wish to speak. They'll be asked to identify their names, addresses, question, and once the chair has a list of all public commentators, they'll call on each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comments. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote.
Okay, thank you, Mason. Upcoming meeting dates. Our next meeting will be January 6th, 2026 and January 20th, 2026. Meeting minutes review for the October 28th meeting. Why don't we take a moment to review that? For comments, corrections, or concerns. Welcome, Mick. Good to see you. Okay. Any comments or concerns or questions on the October 28th meeting minutes? Okay.
Comments?
Hearing none. Mick, did you have a question?
No comment.
Oh, okay. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the October 28th, 2025 meeting minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, all in favor. Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, next order of business is the meeting minutes for our November 4th meeting. When we take a moment and review those for comments, questions, or concerns.
Yeah.
Okay, we all set, team? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the November 4th, 2025 meeting minutes as written.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Woody. Roll call, all in favor? Mary?
I think I was absent at that meeting, so I will abstain.
Okay. Woody?
Yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, next matter is meeting minutes review for our November 18th, 2025 meeting. When we take a moment, review those for comments, corrections, or concerns. Okay, if we're all set. Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the November 18th, 2025 meeting minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, all in favor, Mary,
yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right. So first order of business is a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 050-1433-76 Main Street. Applicant is submitting a request for a certificate of compliance for the repair of a septic system. Mason, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this matter?
Yep. So this came before us, I believe it was September or October of last year, for the repair and replacement of the septic system. I can share the screen. It's a pretty tight area with the wetlands in the back. And they have completed all the work, and they also had a replacement tree that was installed that we had conditioned. So they had reached out to me for species and location, and I confirmed with them. And I was able to drive by, and all work is completed, and the tree is in the ground.
Okay, is the applicant on the call for questions if we have any?
The homeowner is here.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, why don't you just give us your name and address and then hold, see if we have any questions? I think Mason has done a very good job of outlining your project.
yes. My name is Wayne Peterson, and I'm the owner at 76 Main Street.
Okay, Wayne, why don't you hang on? Let me open this up to the members, see if there are any questions on your submittal. Mary,
Absolutely.
any questions for Wayne on his septic?
just more for Mason, just as a result of a site visit, just confirming whether or not it's reseeded now. Is it fully revegetated, and is the erosion control gone now?
Yeah, I believe so. And then the tree went in, I believe it was the end of August. Wayne, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's had some time to establish as well.
That's
Yep.
correct.
And the lawn is reestablished?
Yes, probably 5 or 6 mowings. It looks
Okay.
great.
Excellent. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions for Wayne on this application?
Just a comment, 5 or 6 mowings, that's good grass, so.
Yeah,
That's all. Very
best
good.
it's ever been.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's
thank
all.
you, thank you, Woody. Mick, any questions for Wayne on this one?
No questions from me, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. Harry, any questions? for
No
Wayne?
questions from me, Bob. Thanks.
Okay, Wayne, I have no questions. Mason, are there any raised hands from the public at this time?
Seeing none.
Okay, do any members have a request for a site visit or additional information? Okay, hearing none. I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 76 Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, all in favor? Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Mick,
Aye.
Harry,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Okay, next matter is certificate of compliance for DEP file number 0501163 Borrego Solar. Applicant is submitting a request for a certificate of compliance for the construction of a solar energy facility. Mason, can you give us an overview on this and what's your recommendation? I know you guys had a site walk today.
Yep. So just to clarify, this is pretty much just for the roadway, access easement, and mitigation and replication planting areas. The other installation of the solar was issued a superseding order by the State Department. So that's not what's before us tonight. It's just the access easement and utility easement. I can share this. So
Okay,
this
because the only thing on the agenda, was this amended? I'm looking at an agenda from a couple of days ago. Because the only one that's on here is the 1163.
Yeah, it should be. I believe it was amended. It should be the 1398.
Okay, but can you check your agenda?
Yeah, I can check the posted one. Yep.
I mean, actually, not that it's a big deal. Well, actually, we can't act upon it without the 48-hour notice of agenda posting.
The posted one is actually 11:63.
Okay. All right. Well, we have open meeting law is pretty clear on this. The agenda is going to be posted 48 hours in advance. This, well, I'm just thinking this doesn't require a public hearing. We've actually amended. Well, Mary, I'm gonna refer to you. It's not on our
It is-
agenda.
Well, isn't it, there's no agenda item for this one at all, or is it the wrong number?
Well, there are two outstanding orders of condition.
Yeah.
One is a superseding order. That's what's been posted.
Okay, and this
And
one
it-
wasn't posted
this-
at all?
No, wasn't posted at all.
Well, let me make it easy. We had a couple of comments, Mason and I, about some additional work that needed to be done. So I think
Okay.
we're going to end up maybe recommending that this be tabled until the spring where that work can take place. So
Okay. Well,
maybe the applicant can continue to work with Mason on that in between now and then and talk about that. I don't know what the rule is, Bob. It isn't a public hearing. We don't have to take public input, so it's
well, why don't we do this?
administrative item.
I think Bob is here.
Yeah,
Robert's here. Why don't we open it up to questions? I don't think we can take action on it tonight, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean we cannot, we can have that we,
okay.
I think we can have a discussion on it because so. Okay, so Robert, give us your name and position on this thing. Good to see you again. How's that mud of yours?
Hi, folks. Nice to see you again. It's been a few years.
It
The
sure
mud is
has.
good.
Mud puppy. Yeah.
Not quite so muddy. Although the same dog did find her way into the river again today, into the pond.
I warned Mason. I said, keep an eye on that dog, otherwise you're going to come home soaking wet when it shakes off.
Yeah.
That did not. Yeah, that did not go over so
Fortunately,
well.
we were already wet anyway, so yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, nice to see you all. So, so we're in front of you to request the certificate of compliance, and after our site walk today, I went back and looked through the notes and had some feedback I wanted to provide you with regarding some of the questions today. So, I think there were basically three items that we had today that were in question, and one of them was the amount or the area of wetland restoration that occurred. And there's an area in there, approximately 50 square feet or something thereabouts, that Mary's concerned that it's not meeting those needs right now. And so what I wanted to do was revisit that.
Robert, there were two, as I recall, there were two replication areas
That's it. Yeah.
on wetland. Which one is this? I think Mary and I are probably the only two on the commission back then.
We were
would
the only
remember that.
ones.
Yeah.
If you'd
might be
like, I can
helpful.
share my screen with you and show you the ones that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that'd be
Yes.
helpful.
Okay.
Robert, thank you.
You should be good to share now, Rob.
Okay, thank you. So what I would like to share is, let's do this window, and then let me go and bring up. So, okay, can you see can you see the email?
We just
Here.
see the agenda.
Yeah, we have the agenda right
Okay, let me
now.
try that again. All right. Let's see, try that again. Zoom.
Are you trying to share a second screen?
I was just I tried to share what was the screen as opposed to the app.
I can
So,
pull up that email if it's easier, Rob.
No, I've got it now. Thank you.
Okay.
But it may be maybe that I'm gonna have to stop in between if I'm toggling through. So So there were two things. First was the plans we were actually looking at today were not the last amended approval. So there was an amended approval, which I've got the email and the notes. And it looks like, unfortunately, it was long enough ago that I don't remember exactly the process, but the email from Martha, which actually maybe I'll pull that one up too, although I have a feeling you're not going to be able to. Can you see the new email?
No. No, I think the thing we just have to have clarity on that, Robert, is you have emails. Martha was the town planner, but not on conservation. So amendments to your plan for the planning board wouldn't necessarily roll over as an amendment to your order of conditions.
Understood. But what we did was we presented it to the commission, and I think it was determined that there was a whole list of conditions that the commission provided, and that we were going to do it as a slight modification, nothing that would require a hearing, and that's what this whole piece reflects.
Okay.
Is so we have a we have a review and approval that it was just being done as an administrative approval at that point.
So this was just to relocate the replication area. Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly. And I don't honestly remember who recommended it, but we originally had 800 square feet that were going to be down on at the main channel. And then it was recommended that we do this piece, which you can see here, which it was only 240 square feet that we needed because there was 120 square feet of permitted impact. So we were going to do 240 square feet of wet restoration here. And then we ended up not doing it that way because there was a large oak tree. So this is the as-built. And so we ended up splitting it up. There was a large oak tree and we didn't want to damage the oak. So we put roughly half of it on this side and half of it on this side, working with Samantha in that process. So there was 240 that we needed. We ended up creating 275. And now there's discussion on whether or not this part actually, how much of this part actually works.
Yeah.
So in my mind, we're within 20 to 30 square feet of the required amount. So what I would like to, and so what we had talked about today was that it needs to go back and be redone. But what I would like to remind the board is that we actually removed 165 yards of fill, and we restored 1,500 square feet where there had been a road previously, and we were not able to get credit for that because the road itself was considered to be a wetland. But there's no question that habitat-wise, hydrologically, we removed a road from the middle of a wetland. So my appeal to the board is, or sorry, to the commission is that we're talking 30 or 40 square feet of wetland that we attempted to do that's now being deemed substandard. But that we actually, that this project has been a big improvement for the wetland overall, due to the removal of fill, and the removal of the road through the wetland. So that's my first point. And I wanted to show one other thing on this, which was this is the area that we're discussing. So it's this area from this post to a bit past this post, and the area of concern is the area past the post. And I can remember why it's not deeper, and you can see it here. There's a giant rock, there's a large boulder, and the amount of disturbance because it's underneath the erosion control. And then the same thing, there's a large stump that's right here, and that's why we weren't able to pull the grade further down. So the discussion with Samantha Holt at the time was that this is what we can do without creating additional disturbance. Again, pulling out this large boulder and pulling out the stump, which basically meant that this is what we could accomplish in here. So I would ask the commission to consider that as a case for the certificate of compliance, rather than sending us out to do another 50 square feet.
Okay.
So one other piece I wanted to add to that, which I think is part of the discussion here, was is I want to remind the board, because or the commission, I keep saying that, is that we overall, this project was an enormous asset. When we first brought this to the commission, it was for there was about 57 acres of conservation land, and in the end, the Ysaires, really trying to be good stewards, put 82 acres into conservation. So this was a huge net plus for the town of Newbury. And again, I believe that this project really was a huge net plus. Yes, there's a few items that are really kind of minor details along the way that I would hope we can work with, given what this project has accomplished. And with that, I think that's probably a good place for me to stop and maybe answer some questions.
Okay, Mary, additional questions for Robert
Sure.
on this?
And just to back up for some of the newer members, this is a roadway that was constructed to provide a secondary access to the solar farm that's in Byfield off of Main Street. And it had to cross a substantial wetland, as you can see here. So this was a project that had a lot of impact. There was an old farm road, essentially, that came across this wetland, and they removed the road and rebuilt, removed almost all of the fill material that was in the wetland and bridged it.
No, we removed all of it, Mary. It was all
Yeah, there's
removed.
a little piece left, a few little
That was
pieces.
below the water level. We
in
removed
any event,
165 yards.
Not really relevant to the point I'm trying to make is just to give them some context for the project, that there was a big bridge that was put in across here, that which I don't know if you guys are even aware of that, but it was what was the length of the bridge? 75 feet or 100 feet or something?
120 feet. It was roughly $1.5 million bridge.
Yeah, it's a huge steel span that's
with no wetland
8 feet
impacts.
wide. Yep.
No
So it
wetland.
didn't have any piers in the water. So there was a
None.
substantial, improvement in removing this old road. From the point of view of the Wetland Protection Act, in the way it was flagged and presented to the commission, the road was flagged as wetland itself. And that's because it was low enough that it had wetland vegetation growing on it, and the water would wash over it and move downstream and under 95. So we had to do replication for the amount of permanent wetland impact that was proposed. So all that was temporary. The material that you see, the stone, everything was all removed. And the temporary impacts were all restored. And it actually looks very good. And it's going to come back nicely. And it was all very stable. And I don't know what it looked like during construction because I never saw it, but it was, and I'm sure it was a big effort to get this done because it was a big project. And Bob will remember. So there was this just minor area along the access road where the replication area wasn't quite the size. It wasn't functional for the size that they were taking credit for. And I estimate it was probably 45, 50 square feet. It wasn't a huge area. And what would be involved to correct it would be to excavate and, a little bit deeper and reseed again with the wetland seed mix. It's a minor thing, but it doesn't meet the 75% vegetative cover in that area right now. So that was the comment there. There was also a small area.
Mary, can we pause and just clarify a few things here real quick?
Sure.
You mentioned 50, but we restored 275. We only needed to restore 240. So there was a
I'm
differential.
just saying the area that was short. We were short by about
that's right.
45 to 50.
But so if it was short 50, that would be short only 15 square feet.
Okay.
Right?
Because you were over for the.
We had done
Okay.
more than what was required.
Okay, and that's probably de minimis then. So if that's the way if you want to do the math that way, you intended to build more than you needed because you
That's right.
redesigned the shape of it. And then we only needed the 240 square feet or whatever.
That's
it
right.
was.
Only 240. Yeah.
Yep. And then the other small item was there was a sort of staging area that was created as a little bump out to this road, and that hadn't really been restored. It hadn't been reseeded or anything, so and it seemed to be a little bit larger than what was originally shown on the plan. I don't know if you have that.
Yeah, I can pull that up for you. Unfortunately, this is not letting me share my screen. It just shares the application, so I have to kind of go back and forth. But let me figure out how I can do that real quick here. I think I can probably split screen and make it do it that way. So give me one moment. Because yeah, the issue is, so here's that, and now let me do yeah, and this is really probably in my mind the most significant part, because this one's off. And so let's do this and bring that back over here. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll try.
What are you trying to pull up? Maybe Mason could post it, put it up for you. If it,
What, okay, yeah.
Yes,
Well, what I was
yes.
trying to do is just compare the as-built with the proposed, and I think I can do that now. I'm sorry if it's
so if I could just ask a question to both Mary and Bob. So the requirement, Mary, was we needed 240 square feet of replication. Bob, you're saying that you've done 275 square feet overall. It just isn't exactly in the spot where it was proposed due to existing conditions.
He's
not
quite.
Exactly. It was that
Okay.
we thought we'd attempted to do 275. There's approximately 50 that are not that are substandard, where we don't have the 75% cover of wetland veg.
Okay.
And so if it's 50 minus 275, that gets us down to 225. We
Right.
were only required to do
Gotcha.
240, so we're
Okay.
approximately 15, and we're approximately 15 off, and then then my feeling is that we did an
Yes,
enormous.
given everything else that they did to remove all the
Yeah,
material.
yeah, because
Yeah.
the 165 yards of removal was really over and above beyond. We didn't need to do it, right? We could have just built the bridge over that
It was
existing
approved
road, but it didn't,
without.
and so there was a
Right.
cost to that.
Mhm.
But it was a better job to remove
Yeah.
the fill in the road, and it was a better
Easy to
piece.
construct.
But there was no credit for any of that.
So that was
So can you see
that
this now?
area. And then further down, if you continue on down this road towards the bridge, they had a pull off where they had
Yeah, it's right here. Can you
staging.
see my cursor?
No.
No. Which one are you seeing? Can you see my cursor now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, you're in the
Okay, so
wetland.
I'm only able to show you one screen at a time. Okay, so let's do this real quick then. So this is okay, so it's this area right in here. So if we continue
Right
on,
there. Yes.
unfortunately, I'm not able to show you the multiple. So, but what I want to show you, if you can follow my cursor, basically the road should have ended right here. This is the lease line. And it should have ended right here. There was this bump out. So this area that Mary's referring to is a gravel area that hasn't been restored. That's valuable for essentially as a turnaround, because this is this is a one lane road, and one of the requirements of the fire department was that we have bump outs every so number of feet, because this was where all the turnaround was done. But the bump out's bigger than what was approved.
That's in the upland area?
It is, yes.
Okay.
It's in upland. I think it's in buffer zone. I can't tell from this plan.
It is not in buffer zone. I'll show you where that is. So let's go back and we'll go to one more time. Here's the okay, so now you should be able to see this one. Let me pull this out
Those
of
are
the
the
way.
25-foot lines, so yeah, you can't really tell. It looks like it's
Yeah.
probably in
So
partly
it's this
in-
area here that it extends past the line here. And our buffer zone here's our 25-foot buffer here, and here's our 200-foot river area. So we're on the top of the hill here.
Right. So you probably are a portion of it in the buffer zone, is what my point is. So
How am I in the buffer? Here's our 25. What buffer zone are you talking
buffer
about?
is 100 feet from the wetland. That you're only showing 25. You don't show the 100-foot buffer zone on this plan. You show a 200-foot riverfront from the river in the other direction, and you show 25 from the wetland that we're talking about. But if you can envision the 25-foot extending another 3 times its width, you're going to be in the buffer zone. Right? There's a 100-foot buffer zone from that wetland line right there.
So that's the 25. And this would be the 100. It's close.
And the third item was just that there was some still some stone under the bridge on the
That
side.
absolutely cannot be removed. There's no way. That was removed during construction when there was a haul road. We cannot get equipment. We did not put equipment in the water.
Yeah.
And so when that haul road was being removed, everything was below water.
Can I
And the
just
difference is
explain
that the
to the
water
commission?
levels drop now.
Rob,
Yeah, Rob,
We
Rob,
removed 165 yards,
Rob,
and you're
give me a
talking
chance to
about like
finish.
6 inches of stone in there.
Rob, please hold your comments until I call upon you. Thank you. Mary, go ahead.
These are things the commission needs to know and decide upon so they have the information. There was still some construction material under a small amount under a portion of the bridge. It was just stone, like 1-inch stone. It looked like it could have possibly been in the wetland. It's, again, these are small comments given the size of the project. But you're asking for a certificate of compliance. I'm giving comments on areas that might not be in full compliance with that, but might require just a small amount of handwork to get rid of. So Mason took some pictures of it. I don't know if you want to show those, Mason, but
Yeah, I can pull those up.
yep.
I can show you though that this area is in the
Bob,
material that was removed.
Bob, please hold your comments until I call upon you. Thank you.
So yeah, you can see just in the foreground here, right under the bridge, there's some stone there. There's a little bit of stone and material that's about halfway down that's left there. That might have been remnants from the dewatering operation. I'm not sure. That's not really any concern, and you do more harm than good trying to get at it. This area, a little bit of stone was totally frozen into the wetland right there at the time we were there. It's not a lot. It's probably going to revegetate over, but it was there. So, and you can see the cutting of the vegetation on either side of the bridge. There were some shrubs and things that needed to be cleared to create the construction pathway. That'll all come back and grow in closer to the bridge, I think, over time as well.
So I'm sorry.
So I think the main concern for me would just be, and it might be for the planning board as well, is the clearing and lack of vegetation in the staging area, which a portion of which appears to be in the buffer zone. So I don't
Now,
know. Mason, do you have any other things that you had on your list?
Mary,
I
ju-
I
With
think
ju-
with
just-
plantings, there was a number of restoration plantings, so trees and shrubs that were put alongside the road. We could see those had been installed. They still had a lot of tags on them or the ribbons on them, so you could see that they were there. They looked, from what we can tell, like they were okay, but it's it's December, so it's a little hard to tell whether or not they're living. But it looks like they have survived a couple of years since since they've been put in. I think it's been 2 years since they've been put in.
So Mary, you mentioned the staging area, that there was still some disturbance there. Mason, do you have pictures of that?
I do in the growing
Right there.
season.
That's it right there. So they had, cleared, but beyond the limit
That's
of
not the
work.
staging area.
That's not it.
this was the bump out area that we were
That's
talking
the bump out at the end of the bridge. The staging area is on the other side.
Well, isn't that what we're talking about? The bump out?
No,
zone?
I thought you mentioned revegetation of the staging area.
Okay, maybe I'm using the wrong term, staging, but I meant it's the bump out. I'm talking about.
Okay, then,
which is right here.
so,
So
okay.
that bump out is on the plans.
Yeah, it's on the plans. It's just a little bit larger in the field than it was approved on the plans, and a portion of that is in the
Which
buffer
bump out are we talking about now, Mary? Are you talking about a different bump out than we were talking about before?
zone. No.
Okay, because that's not the same bump out that we were just talking about.
Okay.
That bump out that we were just looking at there is the one at the end of the bridge, so that's just a minor
Oh,
bump.
that's on the far side of the.
Yeah, that's right. That's on the far side of the bridge.
Not the power line side.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's the one on the power line side because that's the stone wall to your right
Okay.
that demarcates the end of the property line there.
Okay, and maybe Mason doesn't have a picture of this one. It looks similar.
Yeah.
It's just the same kind of stone. It's cleared and it's just bigger, a little bit bigger. So.
Yeah.
You said it was outside of your lease area, so I think that Bob, I'm directing this to you. Just
Yeah,
that may be a concern as well.
I think she's addressing it to Bob Rosen, not me as chair.
Yeah, I mean the lease is from the Yasers, and the Yasers are happy with this.
Okay.
So I don't think anybody on the project side has a concern.
Is that, can I ask you, Rob, if that bump out is needed for anything in the future? Is it necessary because you have, now that the bridge is in, does it serve any purpose anymore?
Let me see what's happening. Sorry, things keep turning off. No, I mean, other than these bump outs and are items that are wanted by the fire department. So we definitely can't shrink it down more. They were quite concerned about turning radius all the way through. So obviously they didn't need it that large, but they wouldn't be concerned about that. So no, it's a one-lane road. So all that does is just provide access so somebody doesn't have to back further down.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's in an area that was already disturbed. It's an area I mean, it wasn't disturbed with gravel road and all that, but it was an area that had already been used for things prior.
Okay, Mason, so Mary, have you identified, I mean, I think you're recapping the result of your site walk today.
Yeah.
And we'll call it the minor discrepancies that exist. I'm curious, down at the restoration at the bridge crane pad site, I'll be honest with you, Rob, I don't think anyone on the commission knew. We had talked about this in the past, we had no idea for whatever reason. I don't recall the commission getting any update from Sam on the environment, the weekly report.
Environmental monitoring. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or even a field discussion about changing. To be honest, I honestly thought that the project had been abandoned, that it wasn't going forward.
Oh, wow. Because we sent environmental monitoring reports every couple of weeks.
Yeah, no,
And-
Mason got copies of them. I'm just being candid that I'm
We
in a,
didn't know, yeah.
yeah, we had no idea that you would have even proceeded with this, because I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall watching that bridge get put in, because that was a work of art too.
It was a beauty. It was impressive.
I hope you took a video of all of this, but
I have some great pictures I'd love to share,
Okay.
and there's a bunch of photos in the environmental monitoring reports of the bridge install.
okay.
I will say they worked in really tough conditions and did really great work. We had a series of 1-inch storms during the removal and the installation. It was a really tough period of time. They did phenomenal work. I was there during. If you might recall, the environmental monitoring requirement was that any time we were in the resource, I needed to be there. So
Right.
there's a lot of monitoring. And I was in regular contact with Samantha. So all of this has been in front of her, and I'm sorry that there had not been.
No, that's this is no criticism on your part, Rob. I think the end result here is just trying to get this across the finish line. But
Yeah.
I think, Mary, do you agree that we really never thought this had gone forward, because we
I was asking about it recently, and
Yeah.
Mason said that he didn't know anything about it either. So, yeah, I was surprised that, I mean, maybe it was at the tail end of Samantha's term, and when
then you had
Sean was
Sean.
in place. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
maybe. I
but
don't know.
certainly that's not on
Yeah.
on Rob or the project's part. So, Mary, you have anything else? I was just going to go back to Mason, just to quantify kind of what the punch list is, and then to discuss them and see what direction we want to go in. Was there
Yeah,
anything?
it was just those 3 items.
Okay,
I think that the replication area, I'm satisfied that that's
15 square feet is not
and
gonna,
we're not gonna dig things up over that. And then the stone under the bridge, it's not a lot. It's probably going to be revegetated. It's just stone, small stone. So
Well, and it's actually underwater, and that's
Under-
what I'm saying is when
that was my point, is it's underwater. So, but
Yeah.
we can count it as material that just it wasn't fully removed as part of the removal of the road or something.
But how do you say
Okay,
that when we
Rob,
remove
doesn't-
Rob,
it doesn't really matter.
all right,
I'm just trying
listen,
to summarize.
listen, everyone. All questions go through the chair.
Thank you, Bob. My
Okay.
apologies.
Yeah.
All
You're right.
right, Mary, if you could finish.
I'm saying that that's probably not a problem. So
Yeah, no, I know.
And
I
then-
think
and
Rob,
then the third
Rob,
one was
relax.
bump out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that
I will relax.
that potentially present more of an issue, because it appeared to be from the plan, additional clearing beyond the limit of work that hasn't been restored. So I don't know what the square footage is, because the as-built plan doesn't match it that way with the you can calculate it, but I don't know what the actual square footage is in the buffer zone that was impacted beyond what was approved.
Okay.
Maybe Woody has some thoughts about how the planning board would look at that. So
So let me just go back to Mason, where you guys are on the site visit and you were kind of the eyes of the commission. Mason, were there any additional items that you took notation of that beyond what Mary?
I think it was just maybe the stone around the utility pole, Mary, but I think we had discussed on site that was in the approved location in the end. So I think that was all for kind of concerns or comments that we had.
Okay. Woody, what was the status of this in the planning board? I mean, you and I even talked about this. I don't
Yeah.
even,
To this date, I had no idea that the bridge was in, so
yeah.
news to me, and there's a few various reasons for that, but here we are.
Okay.
So
You, any you've heard what both Mason and Mary have brought up, and any questions you have that we can have Rob respond to?
I don't have any specific questions other than, because I was having trouble following at one point there. But the turnarounds were required, the bump outs that were shown in the pictures were required by fire?
They were, yes.
Okay,
Now,
so
not
they,
not the size though. That the one corner, the elbow that where it pushes out across the lease line is bigger than what was required. But yes, there were that was part of one of them. They're spaced. I don't remember, every 300 feet we have a bump out, and there was a turning analysis, turning radius that was required by the fire department for that.
okay, and those were not, those are on the as-built now, but weren't on the original plan.
Just that one corner elbow. They were the bump outs were part of the approved plan set.
Okay,
Just not the size of that.
it's a little larger than what it's supposed to
It's
be.
larger. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's a bit larger. I mean, admittedly, it crosses the line. It's quite a bit larger. Yeah, but it was yeah. But it was in an
Okay.
area that was always used as a turnaround up there. There was even a road and stuff that went off the edge of that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was already existing, yep.
So
All right.
I think the one question is, has the fire department signed off on this now? Have they actually gone through this and looked at it?
They're supposed to have their final meeting tomorrow, which is just for the shutoff. So the fire department has been involved in this. So because we had, and again, I'm sorry, I don't know why the planning board and the conservation commission weren't aware of this, because we had the required pre-construction meetings and all these other things, and so those folks were all CC'd on the environmental monitoring reports, and we just assumed that if it's going to the planner and the conservation agent, that information would be shared with the boards.
But yeah, what one would think.
Yeah.
It happens though.
Yeah.
Okay, so quantifying the issues, Mary, I'm going to go back to you. What are your thoughts on the magnitude of the issues? Is Mother Nature going to take over some of these? It's all going to, as I recall,
Yeah, because they put a gravel pad down, so it's been a couple of years and there's no vegetation growing in it, so it's a kind of
Okay.
a parking area. So
okay,
ideally, you would reestablish the approved limit of work there. We could issue a partial certificate of compliance and have that just be the only remaining work left over, which might satisfy things. And sign up on the rest of the project. Because of time of year, it might be difficult to do that work right now and get it seeded and restabilized. But it's probably enough to, be worthwhile in pulling that back. It's quite a bit big. It's probably twice as big as it's shown on the plan.
okay. So the issue before us tonight is the order of conditions that you're seeking isn't on our agenda. So we can't act on that. And I think, Mary, you've raised a good point about for those that weren't involved in this project, this was one of these.
Went on and on.
Well, the amount of work and energy and planning, what Rob has put into this, and then to actually have it built, is quite remarkable. The original farm road was undetectable. I mean, you could kind of make it out walking up there, and something tells me, Rob, that this road isn't going to get used much other than during an emergency, and it's probably going to suffer a similar fate, maybe. But
Right.
So Mary, are you comfortable? Well, so you brought up for discussion a partial certificate of compliance, listing these minor variances, minor in nature to the scope of the work, not minor in nature to a typical order of conditions. Is that the direction you see this going, Mary? Like I say, we're going to have to kick this to our next meeting.
Yeah, I think if between now and the next meeting, Rob could quantify the increased area that's been cleared,
Mhm.
and the increased area that of that's in the buffer zone. So you would have a number, and you could decide whether or not that needed, that needed to be resolved before issuing a certificate of compliance or not. So,
Well, would you consider so you want to quantify what the variance is first?
yeah. I
Now
mean,
that-
if we're going to kick it down the can, then there's plenty of time to do that and just overlay the approved plan with the as-built plan and figure out what the difference is.
Yeah, that's why we would do that.
Okay. All right. Well, then why don't we do this, Rob? You've heard. Before I do that, let me go around to the rest of the commission members out of fairness. Mick, any questions for Rob, Mary, or Mason on this?
Just a consideration when we're talking about the bump out area. Rob, you said it's oversized per what the fire department requirements are. It looks like by the line you drew on the map while we're watching that bump out area is partially within that 100-foot buffer. So just a consideration going forward, can you reduce the size of the bump out, still meet fire department requirements, and get the bump out area outside of that 100-foot buffer?
Yeah, there's no question we can do that. I just measured it, and it's 268 square feet that it's over approximately. And I would need to overlay it exactly, but it looks to me like it's about 200 so to call it 270 square feet. We can absolutely do that.
That would kind of satisfy a lot of kind of discrepancies here, satisfy the wetland protection requirements, and still satisfy what the fire department needs. Of course, it probably couldn't be done until spring because you need to replicate the area that you're going to, the reduction part. And I guess maybe going forward, a plan with that 100-foot buffer on it, the reduced size of that bump out, and and the restoration area associated with that. So that would, I think, be helpful going forward.
Okay. My request would be just please recognize that we did 1,500 square feet of restoration in the wetland that wasn't credited, and a significant improvement to the wetland. And we're talking about a small gravel pad on the edge of the road. And so, we can do it, but it feels to me that the Aceras have been very, really good. This has been a good project, and they put 82 acres into conservation, and we want to close this project up, and we can do this.
I understand, Rob.
Understood.
We're just going by the plan you guys submitted and we approved.
Yeah.
That the goodwill and then all the other stuff, and like you say, not getting credit for that restoration because it was in the wetland already. There was significant restoration work that you didn't get any credit for it. And I certainly, understand that. But we're looking at your plan you submitted that was approved. I think on the question on the way the wetland replication got a little bit deviated through some administrative direction from our agent. I really don't have any problems with that either. I think it was just good common sense. So we're looking at, Mary, you're going to quantify, so 268 square feet is over on the bump out. Mick would like you to show the 100-foot buffer line on that. You got a fire department sign off meeting tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Will you bring up with them the bump outs to make sure that they are what they're looking for? And if they can memorialize that in an email to Mason, that'd be perfect.
Okay. I don't know that tomorrow is a sign off for them. I don't think they were intending tomorrow to be a sign off on the bump outs. There was one of the orders of condition was for there to be a training for the fire department for the shut off. So that's what this is about. So
will that be on site? That will be on site though, won't it?
That's right. Because there's two shut offs. There's one on site, and then there's one at the
other end.
At the other end. That's exactly right. So I don't know that they were planning to discuss. I know they were not planning to discuss bump outs.
Bob, it's bigger than what they already approved, so they're not gonna have enough.
Yeah, but you know what? They were put in for the fire department,
Mhm.
and it just, while we're going through this,
Yep.
I just think they may come back and in fact say that this size is more accommodating to what they need. You don't know where that's going to go
Okay.
from a public safety standpoint,
Okay.
or access of vehicle safety or whatever. So
So Bob, could I present it? Would you be okay with the commission be okay with me presenting it to the fire department? Would you be okay with the bump out as it is oversized? Would that be acceptable to the fire department? Is that essentially what I'm asking, or is there something else?
I think what we're asking is, what is proposed and in the field, does it meet the needs of the fire department?
Okay.
Okay, and the answer is probably, yeah, we gave you the bare minimum size that we wanted. And having
Understood.
a little bit bigger may provide. I mean, I just can't imagine. When we were doing this originally, Rob, I was under the impression that the power company wanted to have the bump out so that if they had their own vehicles during an emergency, one could pull off to let the other, so no one had to back down one way or the other.
Yeah.
That was-
You may be right, Bob. It's been so long, I don't remember.
Yeah, you know,
I think you're
it-
actually right. I think it may have been National Grid. I think you're right, because now that I remember, because remember the issue was, what was the road width?
Right, for their big truck.
And they wanted a 24-foot road, and we wanted
Right.
to give them a 12-foot road. And the compromise was bump outs that could accommodate double width every 300 feet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I recall, Bob.
Yeah,
because
you got a better memory than I. Yeah. And
Well,
you've seen a lot of projects.
but this was just this wasn't usual, we're building a deck, building a house. This was a very, very, very unique project.
Right.
Okay, well, Woody, I see that you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to know if this is currently online now. To see
Yes,
if it-
it's been online, I believe, since probably January of 2024. So this would have been, or maybe even a little earlier than that. I'm not quite sure when all the final testing was done, but the construction basically was over by fall of 2023.
Okay, and it's been online since fall of 2023, and this access road was approved for and after the fact, from my recollection. And
That's
approved
exactly right.
to tie into the grid, and we're just getting around to training the fire department on how to turn it off.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, there were a few balls dropped here. There's no question about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. I
there's-
just wanted to clarify
There's
that.
no question about it. There were a few balls dropped here. The prior the prior folks involved were supposed to have conducted all that stuff at the end of 2023, and it has not gotten done, and that's why I'm back involved.
Okay. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Okay. Harry, any questions for Rob or any points for clarification that you would like that?
No,
Where
I
can,
think right
where
now
can we
you guys
shed
had
light where
enough.
there is none?
I think you guys had some great questions, and I learned a lot more about the project. So I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So Rob, why don't you do this? We're going to put this on our January 6th agenda.
January 6th agenda.
Where it
yeah.
isn't a public hearing, we don't have to formally request to be continued. We just can't take action on it tonight.
Understood.
Are you under, if the commission would entertain a partial on this, is there some underlying pressure on the other end of this to other than just to wrap this up, or is it?
Timing, no. Expense, yes. So
Okay.
timing, there, I don't think there's anything, but yeah, I mean, added expense on this, because you may recall this was a $2 million add-on for a bridge that's going to get
Oh.
used once a year, and it was a big deal.
Okay.
And but so no, timing is nothing. I mean, well, actually, shouldn't say that. timing is something because they're paying on a performance bond. And so that's actually what triggered this, is they were trying to figure, why are we still paying a bond? Oh, the project manager never closed this out.
Okay. I think Mason, but that's a very good point. I think Mason, had you spoken to Lisa,
Yeah.
town council?
Yeah, so I talked with town council and she just recommended that everything be closed out, not only with conservation, but with the planning board as well.
What's open with the planning board?
I'm,
What do you know?
Well,
Well, you know what?
I'm aware
That's a
of what they-
discussion for the planning board anyway.
I'm
All right, you know
aware
what?
of it.
We've spent better part of an hour on
Yeah,
this.
sorry about that. This project does that.
No, this, like I say, you had a surprise $2 million add to a project, which is,
Right.
pretty remarkable in itself.
Yeah, well, I appreciate
All right,
your
so-
patience on all of this.
No, so Rob, we're gonna put this on our January 6th agenda.
Yeah.
Mason, you'll put it on. Now, on the 0501163, has DEP issued a certificate of compliance?
They have
on-
not. They received the information the same time that Mason did, and so
Okay.
Mason's acting faster than DEP. I'm expecting something soon, I hope. I spoke with them before the Thanksgiving holidays, and I'm sure they're just busy.
Was that on the original solar array going in? That
It
order?
was. And
Okay.
and when I had last worked with Martha, we had gone through the checklist and everything was done on the order of conditions for that superseding order, with the exception, the only thing that was remaining was the planning board, the fire department training. So that's not even associated with this permit. Oh,
Right.
actually, I can't remember which one it was. One of the permits, but that was the only remaining condition that Martha and I were working on.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Rob, and good to catch up with you.
Nice to see you all. Happy holidays.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
See you on the 6th.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye-bye.
Next order of business is an RDA for 280 High Road. Applicant submitting an RDA for replacement of rubble foundation and buffer zone. Mason, can you give us an update on this?
Yep,
If it's
Steve
continued?
had reached out requesting a continuance to the January 6th meeting. It sounds like they're going to be reducing the scope of the project just to be repairing the rubble foundation in areas where it's needed most. So he's going to be talking with his builder. It's kind of where we left off at the last meeting, but he just wants to get some kind of clear direction before he comes back to the board with his RDA.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we, it's again, where it's not a public hearing on this, there's no requirement to request a continuance. So we'll just put this on our January 6th order. Okay, next order of business. It's an RDA. 2 Yale Way, applicant is submitting an RDA for the installation of a ground-mounted solar panels. Mason, can you give us an update, an overview, and a recommendation if you have it?
Yep. So where we left off with this, the board wanted to get some more information. On my notes, it says that the board wanted to see the elevation of the panels above the grade. We wanted more detail on whether or not they were going to remove the white pine and alder that was in the proposed location. And then we also wanted the total square footage of the solar panels. And, depending on how high the panels were, we had discussed whether or not, mitigation planting would be needed. I had tried reaching out to the applicant and the homeowner. I don't think either of them are on the meeting tonight. I wasn't able to get a hold of them. I left them a message regarding the few items that the board wanted to see addressed. I actually took some time this afternoon to do some of the calculations based off of what they submitted. So I have some totals for a square footage impact and also some dimensions and heights from the base of the solar to the top and then from the base to the bottom of the panel. So I'll be adding those to the Dropbox for review for whenever the applicant comes back and is able to present.
Okay, why don't you just put this on the January 6th agenda?
Yep.
And hopefully, I see some names on the screen. Is anyone here for 2 Yale Way for this ground-mounted solar panel array? Okay, so yeah, let's just bump this to the January 6th meeting.
Yep. And I'll be adding the calculations and stuff to the Dropbox likely tomorrow morning, so we'll
Yeah.
have some more information on that.
Okay. And I mean, if they're not going to proceed, if you don't hear from them, don't put it on the agenda.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Okay. Okay, next matter is a continued public hearing, DEP file number 0501457, 16 Low Street. Applicant is submitting a notice of intent to raise and rebuild a single-family home in the buffer zone with associated site work, septic replacement, and construction of vegetated buffer strip along the wetland boundary. Mason, what's the update on this one?
So Woody, Dave, and I were able to meet Mike on site to do the site walk. We reviewed the wetland line. We took a look at the far side of the lot, which is where the driveway was proposed. There's about 6 to 8 pine trees existing there now that they're proposing to remove. So Mike's going to be working on a mitigation plan for some native trees in the backyard area to replace those. Dave Clifford had also noted that there was a wellhead in right next to the current existing driveway that they should be putting on the new site plan and addressing what they're going to be doing with that. And I believe that was all the comments that we had besides adding the 50-foot buffer onto their plan. So he's trying to get that from Steve Sawyer, the person who's doing the site plans on that project. So they're hoping to be back in front of us for January 6th with all their updates.
Okay, so the applicant has requested this matter be continued to our January 6th.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to January 6th at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call, all in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
And Bob Connors. Okay. Next matter, a continued public hearing, DEP file number 0501455, Old Newbury Golf Club. Applicant is submitting an NOI for golf course maintenance work, including tee box relocation, tree removal within the buffer zone areas. Mason, can you give us an update where this stands?
Yep. So where we left off with this, we were asking for them to do some infield flagging because a lot of this was done just based off the GIS and aerial imagery. And then I think we also required a 50-foot buffer to be added to the plan just for the commission's view. Sam, the engineer on the project, wasn't able to assemble all the materials in time, and so they're going to be requesting a continuance to our next meeting.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing to our January 6th, 2026 meeting at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Okay, roll call, all in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
yes.
Mick?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, next matter is a continued public hearing, DEP file number 0501453, 34 Central Street. Applicant is submitting a notice of intent for the construction of an MBTA residential housing development at 34 Central Street. Mason has recused himself because he's a neighbor. And I received a communication from Heidi and from Maureen that they're requesting a continuance to our January 6th meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to our January 6th, 2026 meeting at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call, all in favor. Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
yes.
Mick?
Aye.
Harry?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, Mason, anything else? That's the end of our agenda for tonight. Any other important items?
No, I had mentioned to a couple of the board members before we started that the substantial completion for the Larkin Dam project was just done last week. So if anyone was interested in seeing that site, I'd be happy to walk down there with you and show you some of the project elements and things like that. So if anyone's interested, feel free to reach out. But besides that, I don't think I have any other general project updates.
Okay. Well, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. football, family, and food. How do you beat that? Okay, I don't have any other matters. Any final words, Mary? Any comments or Woody?
No,
Mike?
just great job as usual, Mason. Thanks for all your hard work. You really are keeping all the balls in play, so that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there was an interesting video that I come across. I think it was on Facebook, when they had the hammer out there breaking the
Oh, I
dam.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
So
good.
that was the part I think we mentioned at a previous meeting. Mary, you asked if they ran into any issues. So that's where they found a giant wood timber spanning the whole,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
concrete area of the dam. So
Was that behind? Was that behind the dam or up?
it was a part of it. It was,
Oh,
within.
it was a construction component.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
that slowed them down a little bit. Just breaking through the material took a little while, but
Yeah.
but besides that, they I only good things to say about the contractors that we worked with. They were great and super
Who
responsive
was
as
the
well.
contractor?
Luciano's brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if Mary, you've heard of the I believe it's Mattapoisett Bog restoration.
Oh,
It's a
right.
really big project. They worked on that as well.
Okay.
And they do a lot of stuff with DER as well. So
Yep.
Okay. Are they local or they are an out-of-state firm?
they're in the state, but I don't know exactly why. I want to say
Yeah,
they're
like
about
a
an hour or
century.
two away.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Woody, any updates you want to provide?
I don't have any updates. I have a couple questions for Mason and Bob. I tried to call Mason earlier today, but if you guys could hang on at the end of the meeting, well, give me a call. That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Mick, any comments or questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Appreciate it. And then, yeah, I second, Mason, you're just doing an incredible job. Really appreciate all your work in the field. It helps so much because we can't get to the sites like you can, and the thorough reports and the photographs are so helpful. So just thank you for all your effort.
Okay. Be careful. He's gonna be asking for a raise. We keep giving him all these attaboys.
Mhm.
That goes
Harry,
to somebody else, not us, Bob.
Yeah,
I'll prove it all day long.
yeah,
Doesn't matter.
No, that's right. There's only one person you got to impress for a raise. That's not us. Harry, any comments?
Yeah, just echo what everyone said about Mason. I've been here for about 4 or 5 months, and so far you've been very impressive with all your hard work and energy. So I look forward to that continuing. So that was it. Thank you, Bob.
Okay. No, it's a great team effort, everyone, and thank you. I was actually shocked when we were doing the annual report and you look at the number of meetings, the number of agenda items, number of site visits. It's quite a commitment of time, and I certainly appreciate everything you guys do, and I know that the town and all the residents appreciate your fairness and your contribution. So with that, it is now 7:18. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Mary,
Aye.
Woody,
Yeah.
Mick,
Yes,
Harry, and
yes,
Bob
yes.
Connors. Good
Thanks,
night,
Bob.
everyone.
Good
Okay,
night.
bye,
See you guys.
guys.
Have a great night, folks.
Okay.